So I was browsing the scams subreddit the other day, and I came across this post. Someone said, "This feels like a scam. Tax advisor's resource offer in compromise. My dad received this letter a while back. I feel it has scam written all over it. Am I right to feel this way? Any help would be appreciated." So I thought, hey, this is right up my alley. This is, my industry here. Might as well take a look at this letter that this person's father received and just take a look at it, whether I think it has scam written all over it or not. So I don't know. Maybe some of you have received letters like this. Let's just go over it. Now, I will say before we get into this, how I'm going to look at this, review this letter, is by keeping in mind that there's a difference between, I guess, what I would call aggressive marketing and a scam. The tax relief industry is extremely competitive, and in order to have any shot at success in this industry, tax professionals and tax companies often have to be pretty aggressive with their marketing. Now, there is a line, of course, between aggressive marketing and scammy marketing, right? So that's like there's no doubt in my mind that this letter is going to be use aggressive marketing tactics to get the recipient to pick up the phone or visit the website and fill out the form or whatever, right? But is it scammy marketing? Let's see. Let's find out. I'm just going to share my candid thoughts on this letter here. It's from someone named Lien, who's an enrolled agent specialist offering compromise tax advisor's resource. Okay. Better Business Bureau rating A plus, 20 years. Lien EA OIC expert IRS economic relief update. Okay. I'm not going to take the time to check out their BBB rating, but the economy is forcing the IRS to grant more relief than any time in history. I might take issue with that, especially in terms of an offer in compromise, because one thing that will count against you in an offer in compromise is the equity you have in your home, whether or not you can access it or not. And as we all know, real estate values have been have been just getting higher and higher. Yes, it's gone down a little bit in some areas, but no big, drop that many would have expected before all the rate increases. So at this point, folks, if you have, and I've said this on the channel before, if you have a lot of equity in your home, you probably won't qualify for an offer in compromise, right? There are other avenues for you for tax relief, maybe a partial payment installment agreement or currently non collectible status if you're not able to access the equity in the home and you can prove that. But at least in an OIC context, I don't know if I'd agree with the notion that the economy is forcing the IRS to grant more relief than any time in history. In fact, I would maybe say the opposite because of all the new funding they have. They're ready and raring to go more than any time in history to really go after taxpayers who owe. All right, I know you have experienced complete information overload regarding your tax problem, so let me quickly tell you who I am and why I think I can help you. My name is Lien. I'm a former revenue officer with the IRS. My experience with the OIC program has now reached 35 years, blah, blah, blah. In the field of offering compromise settlements, I am considered an expert, but I am not the only expert. On our team, we have 6 former IRS offering compromise specialists that just retired and are ready to help you. They are employed by the IRS as offer specialists to settle tax debt for taxpayers like you. Folks, let me tell you something. You're going to find out the IRS. Look, I don't want to talk poorly about people who work at the IRS, but we run circles around them every day. At least the people on my staff do. And sometimes even these like offer specialists, they're just dumb as stumps at the IRS, or they're just unwilling to follow their own rules. Right? I'll give you an example of this. A while back, we submitted an offer in compromise for somebody, and the offer specialist rejected it, of course. And the reason why she rejected it is because, well, a principal reason was because she, despite the fact that we provided credit card statements, this individual had paid the lease with a credit card, and a copy of their lease, right, for like over $3,000 a month. She didn't give the taxpayer that expense, even though my EA, her name's Leah, had argued over, had shown the offer specialist sufficient evidence that this taxpayer, the sole provider for a family of 6, was indeed paying rent for an apartment in Brooklyn, New York. And for whatever reason, she just would not allow him any expenses, housing expenses, against his disposable income, right? So of course it looks like, he has the ability to pay the IRS what he owes if he's, uh, has an extra $3,000 a month. Well, but no, in reality, $3,000 a month was going towards his rent and housing expenses. Okay, and there's so many other mistakes that she made. We claimed a deduction for tax or child support against the disposable income. She didn't allow it, even though it's court-ordered child support. We supplied her with the court order, right? And just a bunch of other nonsense, right? And at the end of and the funny thing is, the rejection didn't just go through the offer specialist. It also went through her manager, right? Who signed off on the rejection. And it wasn't until we took it to appeals. There's generally smarter people in appeals than just your everyday, offer specialist or revenue officer, at least in my experience, right? And of course, we got the offer accepted in appeals, right? Settled like the $90,000 of tax debt for like $2,000, right? So, but I get it. It's marketing. That's like her, I don't know, what would you call it? She's trying to differentiate herself in the marketplace. Right. And, anyone can do that. Right. Anyone can say that, my particular, if you work for the IRS, you're going to say, if you had worked for the IRS, you're going to say, oh, yeah, well, we work for the IRS. We know how it works. If you're outside the IRS, now you're a tax professional in private practice, you're going to say, well, okay, that's nice, but we run circles around the IRS offer specialists all day long. Right. So, but I get it. It's marketing, right? And here's another thing that's just marketing here, right in my face here. We have athletes and public figures as clients. Even now, I'm asked to coach attorneys, CPAs, and enrolled agents on filing OICs that will be approved. It's a great honor to use my expertise to help taxpayers in Texas. I'm assuming the recipient of this letter is in Texas, and all over the country. Finally get a fresh start. Your opportunity for relief just got better. The IRS is overwhelmed. The economy is forcing the IRS to grant more relief than any time in history. I've been creating successful outcomes for 35 years. But this is the best time for you ever. This will not last. Don't wait. So again, I think, in my opinion, she's probably creating a false sense of urgency here. And she's repeating the line that the economy is forcing the IRS to grant more relief than any time in history. I'm not so, sure about that, at least in the context of an offer and compromise. Don't hire a company. Hire a person who's uniquely qualified for all tax issues. I have no doubt that an OIC filed by a former offer specialist communicating with the current offer specialist has a greater chance of success. Again, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but just because someone was a former offer specialist or someone at the IRS, it frankly doesn't mean very much, because we talk to offer specialists all day long who don't even know anything really about the Internal Revenue Manual. I'm not gonna belabor that point, but I get it. This is kind of her unique selling proposition. This is kind of like her unique a way to differentiate herself in the marketplace. Do you have a revenue officer? We were all high-level ROs for decades. We have real-time knowledge of what the IRS will accept and what they will not accept. Again, okay, just if you were an offer specialist or revenue officer, years ago, that doesn't necessarily translate to real-time knowledge of what the IRS will accept and what they will not accept, because so many things have changed, right? With the offer and compromise program and other tax relief programs, just in the past 10 years, 5 years even, where, it can be a completely different ballgame. And it's really about knowing what's working now, knowing what's in the IRM now, right? And not just depending on your old knowledge from, 20 years ago. We have real-time knowledge of what the IRS will accept and what they will not accept. Let me zoom out on this a little bit. Unfortunately, the tax marketing firms offer a sales pitch, but without expertise. I've seen it over and over. Taxpayers who are legitimate fresh start candidates, but were rejected because of mistakes and inexperience. Now, I will give her that, because even the most slam dunk offers and compromise we submit, more often than not, it's rejected by the dumbest stump offer specialists at the IRS, right? Either they're mean or they're just ignorant. I don't know which is which. I'm kind of thinking it's the latter, right? So it's true. Like, if you're inexperienced, you're gonna think, oh, the offer specialist rejected it, I guess my offer is rejected. No, we know we got to take it to appeals because the offer specialist can be just dumb as stumps. The simple fact is these tax professionals are only learning what I already know. Okay. The evidence of this is that the IRS only accepts just under 19% of the OIC submitted nationwide. I think it's higher than that now. I think that's an old statistic. Many of those are self-submitted too. We get plenty of people who come to us. They submitted their own offer in compromise. They didn't know what they were doing. And, it got rejected. These aren't just, tax professionals submitting these rejected offers. These numbers also tell us something else, and that is anyone can file an offer in compromise, but only a few can get them accepted. Our success rate with filing offers is well into the 90% range. This is due to the quality of the work. I've helped so many people all over Texas. John, that must be the person receiving this. I know I can help you in Austin. I would like to interview for the job of being your personal advocate. Our group consists of 12 women, 6 offer specialists, and 6 ex-revenue officers, all of whom retired from the IRS. After 35 years of service, each has a very high concentration of knowledge and experience ready to help. None of them will tell you anything that's not true or sell you things you do not need. Well, I kind of questioned some things in this letter that may or may not be true. But anyway, you already know about all the scams. This firm has reached 20 plus years with 0 complaints. Do not pay anyone. Let's just talk first. Hiring the wrong person will be extremely expensive. We do it all. Payment plans, settlements, audits, unfiled returns, business or personal. Once a tax debt reaches a certain dollar amount, it becomes a life-altering experience. My job is to attempt to give you your life back. The lien they filed for $116,000 is no big deal. So she basically has access to lien data, right? So notice a federal tax lien that's in public record. You can pull them yourself. There are services out there that you can pay, or tax relief companies can pay to get like the latest lien filings, right? And you can kind of append the data using the individual's name and address to get their email and phone number and things like that. I'll file OICs for balances owed of $10,000 to $10 million. We're not overwhelmed. We have plenty of time for your case. Take this opportunity. If you filed an offer already, you're just thinking about filing an offer, give me a call. I help people all over the country, and I love my job. Okay. So is this nothing? So nothing about this necessarily screams scam to me. It just seems like a very aggressive piece of marketing, right? One thing I like about this company is it is owned by an actual tax professional and an IRS enrolled agent, right? Because there's three kinds of folks who can represent taxpayers before the IRS: enrolled agents, IRS enrolled agents, CPAs, and attorneys. Okay, so if someone's talking to me, and let's say they don't want to use choice tax relief, right? My company, and they say, I'm in the middle of West Virginia. I want to work with someone locally. Okay, do you know any good tax relief companies in West Virginia? I don't know off the top of my head. But what I would tell them is, look, you want to go to a place that specializes, or whose owner is an actual tax professional, a CPA, an attorney, or an EA, right? Because they can lose their license / credential if their company is treating clients right, or if they're overselling, selling things that they can't do. If a tax relief company is owned by some anonymous party or non-tax professionals, I would say, hey, maybe stay away. So one thing I like about this person's company is that it's owned by an actual tax professional, which is great. If it's true they had no complaints in over 20 years, that's awesome. But I would just say, look, this is an aggressive piece of marketing, right? There is a lot of costs involved in sending out letters like this, right? She had to pay for the lien data, right? Obviously the mailer, and you can see some fields were merged, right? Like the recipient's name and things like that, and how much he owes. There's a cost of postage. She probably paid a service to do this, right? I doubt it was her just, sitting there with, putting the papers in the envelope. So there's significant cost in this. And the thing about marketing, if you ever, had a business, you want to get as high ROI as you can on your marketing, right? And so, that's what this letter is. I wouldn't call it a scam. I think it's an aggressive piece of marketing. I know nothing about this person or this company. They might be, really awesome at what they do, or, they might suck. I don't know. I really have no idea. If there's one thing I've learned being in this industry, you can't trust somebody just because of some credential or particular job they had in the past alone, right? You can't trust somebody just solely because they're a CPA or a tax attorney or an EA or an ex-IRS, right? Because there are shady people in all those who wear all those hats. Now, I will say that because tax professionals are held to a higher standard, tax attorneys are licensed by their state bar, CPAs are licensed by their state board of accountancy, enrolled agents are credentialed by the IRS. You probably have less of a chance of being ripped off by one of those folks than by a shop that doesn't have those kinds of folks in ownership, which speaks to the point I said before. But even if but then once we're kind of past the whole are these people shady or trying to rip me off, we have the question of competence, right? And there are very well-meaning folks in all these stripes who they might not be trying to rip anybody off, but it's just the level of experience and competence they have with offers and compromise or other things just doesn't reach the level that you want when you're working with somebody. Okay, there are CPAs out there, EAs out there, tax attorneys out there who, if you call them up, you might be like the fifth offer and compromise case they've ever worked, right? You won't know that from their website, right, or anything, but it's true. And same thing with if someone has experience with the IRS. Maybe I'm just jaded because I work with idiots at the IRS all day, and my staff, they discuss with me on a weekly basis the idiots that they're dealing with at the IRS that week. That really doesn't impress me very much. You really got to look at their track record for their clients, really. I mean, because that's the thing that matters the most, and their specialization in the specific tax matter you're dealing with, right? Because there's a lot of generalists out there. Generalist tax attorneys who do everything tax-wise under the sun. Generalist CPAs, they do tax prep. They do, compilations for companies. They do all kinds of stuff, right? Oh, and then they do a little like offer and compromise work on the side, right? Probably not someone you want to work with. You want to work with someone who's specialized in dealing with whatever tax matter that you're facing at the time. All right, folks, if you have a tax problem, go ahead and reach out to us at Choice Tax Relief, 866-8000-TAX, or you can fill out the form on our website, choicetaxrelief.com, and someone will reach out to you. I also have some other tax relief videos here on the left-hand side of the screen for you to check out. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.